What is good, guys?
We are currently standing next to Dead Horse Bay, also known as Glass Bottle Beach. It's located between the Gerritsen Inlet and Rockaway Inlet here in Brooklyn, New York.
This beach is absolutely polluted.
Yeah.
It used to be an old horse refinery. Now, for those of you that don't know what a horse refinery is, it's actually a place where they actually made fertilizer, but there was another horse refinery that used to clog this up, and it used to make glue. That's what they used to make out of horses primarily, is glue. It's a very popular old product that they used to manufacture out of horses, unfortunately. Like I said, very polluted. There are old boats washed up on this beach. It's absolutely a scavenger's paradise, this place. There's old things from a landfill that used to be here. The old landfill connected two bodies of land. It was so massive at one point in time. And the landfill started to overflow, and it overflowed into the Gerritsen Inlet here. And it's actually pretty crazy because you could still find lots of remnants from that old landfill washing up on this beach all over the place. You could actually find little bits and pieces of bones and all kinds of glass bottles and all things that you don't normally see nowadays are washing up on this beach here.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense stuff. So we're gonna go check this place out, go take a hike down the beach, spend a nice summer day at Dead Horse Bay.
And see what we can find.
Found a stranded crab.
Go on, buddy. He was trying to turn around, but he couldn't. He looks filthy.
Yeah.
You can actually smell the oil. When we were coming around this turn over here, it's just very oily. You can see it in the sand. It has a pretty heavy smell to it. This looks like a piece of a dock, just lodged into the side here. You can tell the water just kept pushing it up against the land. And at one point, it probably was connected to those, what do you call them, like wooden posts?
Pylons. Old pylons. Like not all beat up?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them that are just like completely full. Like you could take that and clean it up and use it.
Yeah.
I mean, like look at all of them.
And you really don't see glass jars like that very much anymore. Also, what you're gonna see a lot of are shoes. This particular is a shoe sole. But I mean, they're all over the place. They're all over the place, literally all over the place.
And look at those bottles out there that are just like upside down, stuck inside the sand.
Not exactly sure what this is, but there's all kinds of pieces like this that are just embedded in the sand. I don't know if they're showing right now because of erosion or they're constantly getting filled over. I'm thinking that they're getting uncovered because of erosion. This whole area over here is all subject to that. This whole beach has probably been eroded over the years from all the storms and everything else that we've had go on around here. So it's just uncovering things like this.
Alright. Looks like something.
Looks like an old piece of, like a statue or a, I don't know, kind of like a trinket of some sort. Something ceramic. Like we were saying before, this place is sort of a scavenger's paradise. Artists, scavengers come here, get old glass bottles, any kind of old remnants that are around here, they'll kind of pick up and use for artwork, maybe sell, I guess. If you find anything really, really good to sell, I guess you could sell it. But yeah, a lot of scavengers and artists come down here to get little old pieces that they could use.
Mosaic type things with all the like little pieces of glass. There's tons of different colored glass, so you can probably make something really pretty out of all this waste. But does that look like a bone? Because I don't know if that's a bone or not.
Yeah.
I don't know what type of bone, but it definitely looks like
It is definitely an old bone.
Could be from
A horse.
a horse or any other animal.
Definitely could be from a horse. It's actually not uncommon to find bones. I'm not exactly sure what animal this is from, or hopefully it's from an animal and not a human being. I don't think it is. But yeah, this is a bone, and it's not uncommon to find this along this beach because they used to take the waste of dead horses and put it inside of this bay, hence the name Dead Horse Bay.
It's in perfect condition, and it even has like a little ecosystem thing going on inside. It's cute.
I don't know if you can make this out, but this is an old boat, completely filled in and covered with sand from years of just water and the tides rushing up against it, filling it up. Outside of shoes, this is probably what you're going to find the most of. Old boats on here. Boats, glass bottles, and shoes.
There's actually a lot of people who come here to go fishing in the bay, which I don't know that I would want to eat any fish inside of that water because it's probably disgusting, but surprisingly there's a lot of fishermen that come to this area. He's running from you.
He's got his claws up.
It looks like it could be another piece of bone right there. Smaller than the one we saw before, but
Yeah.
definitely looks like it.
Definitely looks like some kind of
Vertebrae or
yeah.
something.
Definitely does.
It's actually pretty amazing that there are so many bottles that are perfectly intact. Like you can literally take like hundreds of bottles and clean them up, and then they're perfect.
I'm sure that's what most people do around here.
Yeah.
When they're coming down here, they're probably trying to find some old glass bottles that you wouldn't find ordinarily and using them for artwork.
Soda. Old, like,
An
soda
old soda
bottle.
pot, yeah.
It's like an old
Definitely
soda
like
can.
an old soda bottle. It's pretty cool. You can even see the top of it right there. It just looks old. And there's no screw top for it. You see people making wind chimes out of these, decorating trees, all kinds of things with these bottles right here. Using them for artwork at their house. It's pretty cool, you know, to reuse the garbage. It's actually slowly taking away some of the remnants from the landfill around here.
They've been dumping stuff in this area since like the early 1900s, so you can only imagine the amount of garbage that's even like buried underneath all the sand here. It's pretty crazy. Oh look, another one.
Yeah. Yeah, you find them all along the beach. No surprise. Look at this old white wall tire. Can you imagine what kind of car that went on? Maybe like a Model T or something like that. Something that old might have had that on there. Old white wall tire.
Like old piping. All this pipe. Look.
There wasn't recycling really, you know, so that's why you're seeing a lot of glass bottles that came out of landfill, metal, things like that. There weren't a lot of scrappers around to, you know, recycle the metals and recycle the glass and those kinds of things. So yeah, this is what you're seeing here is more than likely from the landfill and not from any of the plants that were over here. But what I'm noticing as I'm looking into this pipe is this cool glass bottle. And I never thought glass bottles would be so cool, but when you rarely see ones like that, it's actually a pretty cool little glass bottle.
But look at this also. It's like a rock, but it has some kind of like marble like finish or something on it. It looks like a piece of like countertop or something.
It definitely does look like it's some sort of, well, it's a marble.
Like a laminate?
But it's not a laminate. It's a marble on the top. Like, but it looks like an old, like it could have been an old tabletop or something like that. Not sure. Oh, look at this.
It's broken. Oh no. Is that a full little bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cute.
It's a little jar.
Huh.
They probably put medicine or something like that inside of there. It's a little jar. This is basically a lot of garbage right here that's been left behind from fishermen. And I don't understand why, if you're gonna fish in an area, you would actually contribute to the pollution that's inside of it. It's actually pretty mind-boggling to me that you would just leave your garbage behind when you're gonna come back here and fish.
I think this portion of the bay is actually considered the glass bottle beach area, and you can definitely tell because there's way more bottles here than there was on the other side.
When you're down here at high tide and the waves are crashing in against the shore here, it sounds like wind chimes because it picks up all the glass bottles and it kind of makes a little chime, like a wind chime. So it's kind of like a wave chime. It's one of the cool things that actually came out of the pollution. It's actually kind of, I guess you could say, Mother Nature's way of making do with a bad situation. Another old piece of the pipe works. Well, there's actually some, yeah. Might be an old piece of motor. It looks like there's some kind of, starter on it. Looks like a solenoid of some sort, so it might have been an old motor.
Like some kind of like leg off of like a table or something.
It actually looks, and it is, it's the other side of what I thought was that tabletop.
Oh yeah.
Or some kind of statue of some sort. But yeah, that's the other side of that piece that we were seeing over there. Ended up all the way around the corner. This is some kind of cement block. Might have been in the ground at some point in time. Looks like it was holding up some kind of holes, or maybe some of the pipe ran through it at one point in time. I'm not sure, but it's just lodged in the sand here.
So you can see a couple behind us, and they're wading through the water and looking through the sand for glass bottles. They have a bag and they're picking up some unique pieces and putting it in their bag so they could take home, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with it, but put it to good use rather than having it sit here and go to waste and further pollute the water. So
Another piece of what appears to be, I'm not exactly even sure. It's not hollow.
Is it heavy?
Yeah, it might have been a piece of a dock.
Yeah.
It looks like this is like a tie-off for a boat. That looks like an old lawnmower. Old wheels to an old push lawnmower.
Looks like a rusted sink upside down.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Old cast iron sink. Almost rotting away. It's held up.
And this is another piece of that table.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if we took every single piece and tried to put it back together. It would be difficult to find everything, but I've seen a few pieces already, so who knows? It looks kind of like a scale, like you stand on it to weigh yourself. Right?
Yeah.
It's like fits feet.
Yeah, it has
perfectly.
the bar right there. That might have been what it was. Yeah, it's a big one.
They look like the bones that dogs get, that like you fill peanut butter inside of them.
Yeah.
You know? And there's another one actually right. Oh no, look at all of these. There's one right here.
All over the place.
One right there.
As we're walking along this beach right here, we're finding a lot of downed trees. And there's actually pieces of this landfill that are embedded into the tree, like this tire here. There's some glass bottles. And I'm sure that if I go digging around inside of it, I'll find something else that's not supposed to be a part of this tree. But it actually is now. And this tree has probably been knocked down because of all the erosion and storms that we've had over the past 5 years or so. This definitely looks like a piece of motor. Right?
Yeah, there's a ton of metal and like motor parts and a lot of scrap metal, I guess, just sitting here. It's everywhere. I mean, there's like these pieces, this piping, more piping that we keep seeing. There's piping all over the place.
I've actually heard that people that come down here actually find more valuable things than just glass bottles and pieces that they can use for their artwork. I've actually heard of people finding jewelry and other, you know, antique type things that are actually really expensive. I mean, obviously old jewelry is pretty expensive, but you know, little pieces of antiques, trinkets, things like that, things that people didn't know were worth value back in the day, are just sitting inside of this sand right here. Who knows what's underneath our feet? I mean, there could be something that's worth $1 million underneath our feet and we would never ever know about it. It's just completely buried under the sand. Wow, an old roller skate with metal wheels. Huh. Imagine trying to skate on this. That's really cool. This is an old find right here, just like I was just talking about. That's a really cool find. An old roller skate. Found another piece of what we thought was a table. And now that I'm seeing that it's curved right there, what do they call that, concaved?
Yeah, I guess.
Right? I think it might have been some sort of sink, like a sink basin.
tops of the bottles on this stick.
Some creative people actually came down here and made do with some of these down trees and the bottles that are around, because they hang all the bottles on it, and it actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are people that actually do that at their homes and things like that, so this actually does look pretty cool, you know, for what it is. Like I said, you're making the best out of a bad situation here with this pollution. Unfortunately, it is polluted, but people are coming down here to scavenge, get what they need for their art pieces, like I said, recycle, and actually make something kind of interesting out of this place.
These are like glass bottle beach art pieces that people made.
That's how high this beach used to be. This is all erosion from all the storms. And like I said, a lot of this stuff was probably buried underneath the sand at one point in time. There's a few environmental problems that are out here. The erosion being one, that's a very big concern for this island right now. And also, obviously, the pollution. Pollution on this island has always been a concern. When I was a kid, I remember the beaches not looking quite like this, but they used to close down the beaches because of needles and all kinds of other infectious things that were inside of the water that you didn't want to get stuck with or even be swimming around inside of. I actually can't believe that nothing's being done to kind of clean this place up, besides the people that are coming here with the interest in gathering things. It actually is pretty mind-boggling as to why the state isn't doing something to clean this up. Although it does look pretty cool to us and it is something to film, I would rather not be here to film it and know that, you know, our environment is actually healthy and thriving and not contaminated like this. So it is an unfortunate thing, but just like the Scavengers, we're trying to turn an unfortunate thing into a fortunate thing and maybe turn a positive light on it, or, you know, turn somebody's eyes on this situation and maybe get somebody out here to do something about it.
Yeah. So this is another portion of an old dock, just washed ashore. You can tell that it's a dock because it has the boat ties on the edge over there. But it's probably floating at one point and then just kind of made its way to land, and just now it's stuck here. Do you guys hear that? You hear the glass moving around in the water. Makes it sound like a wind chime.
Alright guys, this was a really cool, unique sort of explore in pretty much pollution.
Yeah.
You know, albeit it's pretty polluted like I just said, but it is a really cool spot. I think that, you know, if you're around the area, you should probably come check it out. You're definitely going to find some things that you wouldn't ordinarily see on a beach or pretty much anywhere nowadays, because it's filled with old remnants from back in the day. I mean, it could even be from the 1800s, some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Some of those horse bones that we found might have certainly been from the 1800s. A lot of these bottles look like they're from the early 1900s. A lot of the parts, the plumbing, I think I found a lawnmower, motors. These are from all different types of eras just gathered here on this beach in its polluted state. It's pretty crazy. The erosion on this beach is actually pretty scary.
Yeah.
It probably won't be here for very much longer. It's going to be so eroded at some point in time that there's going to be none of this beach. Where the collection of bottles are, that's not going to be existing anymore. It's actually pretty scary to know that that's out here like that. It's actually pretty scary to know that this place exists like this polluted, and I'm not seeing any crews down here from the city or anything like that cleaning this up.
Yeah.
Brooklyn is a very nice place. There are some very, very nice areas of it, but unfortunately this area is not all that nice. It's really, I mean, for us, it's a unique place. It's cool to film. It's definitely different.
Yeah.
It provides all the elements that we want to see on our channel. So we hope you guys enjoyed this explore. If you like it, subscribe if you're not.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Share if you want. And we'll see you at the next spot, guys. Peace.
Peace.